Alright, so in our battle game mode, we are actually going to spawn characters and enemies. We're not really going to do anything yet with them, but we're going to spawn them so that we can see our battle buttons and our other UI pop up and be able to actually like gauge where the camera is and all of those kinds of things. So I'm in our battle game mode, so go into the battle game mode you created last time and open it up and have event begin play here in the event graph. And we're going to call a function called spawn characters. So I already have it, so I'm just going to type it out here. But you guys are going to do this little circle with a plus in the functions and create a function called spawn characters. You won't have all these other ones, by the way. I'm further along when I did this video, but just for, you should just have spawn characters. You shouldn't have anything else here. So create a function called spawn characters. When you click on it, you're going to add two inputs over here on the right. One of them I called tag, and it's going to be a name type. So that's that light pink type. And one of them I called class, and it's going to be a BP base character type, but class reference. So if you search for a BP base character, you're going to get the class reference, so the purple one. And that's going to be your class. And then again, tag is a name type. So you're going to have both of those as inputs on spawn characters. And we're actually going to have two of these because we're going to spawn enemies and we're going to spawn players. So we're going to have a different class for both of them. And we actually want to be able to have the class come over from the world game mode for the future, because that's like where we're going to run into the enemy, right? And then we need to know which enemy to spawn. So we want this class to come from the game instance because that's going to be persistent across both levels. So we're going to go to our content drawer and we're going to go to wherever you have your game instance. Mine's in general folder. And you're going to open it up and you're going to add a circle with a plus. You're going to add a variable. And again, remember, you won't have a lot of these variables, and that's totally fine. You should just have current quest right now, and then this new one that you're creating. So you're going to create this variable called battle enemy, and it's going to be a BP base enemy class type. So again, it's that purple one. So when you're searching for a BP base enemy, oh wait, you might not have a BP base enemy. So you want to make sure that you create your enemy as well right now. So in your character folder, you have your base character, right? And then you also have your base ally and potentially an ally that inherits from that. That is the one that's running around the world right now, right? So we also want to create an enemy that inherits from base character. So if you go to these folders right here, I would create an enemies folder. So I have my allies folder. I would create an enemies folder to store all your enemies in as well. But it's totally up to you how you organize this. But if you want to create an enemies folder, in the enemies folder, we're going to create a base enemy. So you are going to right click and do a blueprint class. And you're going to search for base character, and that's going to be your parent. So just like when we created the base ally, you're going to use base character as the parent for the enemy as well. So you're going to click on base character and select it, and then name it BP base enemy. And in your base enemy, unlike base ally, right, we don't need to have any sort of camera because we're not following them around, but they should have everything. By the way, you won't have these like health bars or anything like that. Don't worry about all this weird stuff. But they should have everything that base character has. So everything that your character has, they should have some. So they should have HP and max HP because we set that up with the player HUD in the character. So they should have those. They should have the animation sequences because we set that up with the character, right? That the player also uses these. They won't have these other things because we haven't added them yet, but they should have everything that's in your base character should also be in base enemy. And then you're going to create enemies off of that. So you need to have like 2 to 3 different enemy types in your game. You can just color them differently. For now, you do not have to have the sprites in. You can wait to have those in until gameplay. For now, you just need a placeholder that you can put into the enemies so that you can practice spawning them. So literally, like you could just like spawn a bunch of like blocks or something, or like literally a circle, a red circle drawing. Just make sure you have some sort of paper sprite that you can spawn right now, just so you can test out the enemy spawning. It does not have to be your actual enemies currently. So you're gonna go to you're going to create one of these like children classes from base enemy. So blueprint class, and then you're going to search for base enemy this time. that be your parent. And then you can create, I have Evil Joe 1, Evil Joe 2, Evil Joe 3. You can create whatever enemies you want from that. Just make sure you have one right now that we can use. So then in the game instance, back in the game instance, when you're creating that battle enemy, you are going to search for that BP base enemy class, and you're going to use class reference there. And so that purple one. And that's going to be stored in there. I want you to hit compile so that you have a default value, and I want you to put a default base enemy, so that one that you made, because we don't have the save system, right? We're not like, we haven't done any of that stuff yet, so we're not going to actually be able to pull the enemy from the main level, but we want to be able to still test this out. So make sure you have a default enemy here that can just spawn if we don't have anyone that we've like set in the main level. So make sure that you have that so that it can spawn something in here. So I'm just going to spawn Evil Joe 1. And again, make sure that in that enemy, you have something that you can test out spawning with. So whether it's like just like a red sprite, or whether it's like the character with like a red dot on it. Like, you want to distinguish it so you know that it's spawning the correct things, but you just need to have something here for the flipbook to spawn to test it out. So have that default, have that enemy with something that can spawn in there right now. So then for our spawn characters for our enemies back here, this is in our battle game mode. We are going to get the game instance, and we are going to cast to our BP game instance. And then as the BP game instance, we are going to get our battle enemy, and that is going to be the class that we drop in here for spawning the battle, for spawning the enemies. And for spawning the characters, because we only have one, and we're only going to have one for this base game. Obviously, if we weren't, like, you could also store something in the game instance. That's like a list of all the allies that you have. And their classes, and then you could spawn each and every single one of those. Like, that's definitely something you could do. Since we're not going there, we're just going to manually select our character that we are going to spawn, who is Joe. But again, the way we're setting this up, you could just like have a list of allies and spawn each of them. So that could work too. And then our tags are actually going to be associated with our player starts to tell us where to spawn these characters. So for enemies, we want to do a tag of enemy, and I'm going to do a capital E there. Capital is going to matter in a second. And then for here, I'm going to do player, and I'm going to do, or actually ally, sorry, with a capital A. So enemy and ally for these tags. And then if you go back to your battle level, so this map that we made and set up in the last one, you're going to click on each of these player starts and add a tag. So this one I want to be my player. So I'm going to search in the details over here for tag. And then there's going to be this tag section, not this one, that's a different thing. This tag section, we're going to click this little circle with a plus, and where it says none, I'm going to type ally. And again, how we spelled it has to match exactly how we have it here. Same with capitals. So however you did it, make sure it matches. So I have ally. And then for each of these ones, I'm going to add a tag for enemy. And this is because if we don't do this, then if we don't specify which player start to spawn at, they will just all spawn at random player starts. And it's okay if our enemies spawn at random enemy player starts, but we still want them to spawn at the enemy ones, right? We don't want an enemy over here and the player like standing over here facing an enemy, fighting with the enemies. Like, maybe that's what you want them to do, but that's not really what we want. And so Unreal will always pick a player start at random to spawn the player at if you have multiple, unless you specify. So that's why we are adding these tags. Now that we have our enemy being processed and spawn characters and our tags set up on all of our player starts, we can spawn these guys. So we're going to go to our spawn characters function in the battle game mode, and we are going to right click and say get actor of class with tag. And this way we can modify the battle level all we want. The way we're setting it up, we can modify the battle level to have like up to two enemies, up to 4, up to 6, up to like 10, like whatever we wanted, and this code would work the way that we're doing it. So that's how we want to keep it set up. For the tag, we're going to pass in this tag, right, that we did. So it could be ally or enemy depending on which one we're trying to spawn. And for this class, it's the player start because we're getting the player start. So this class right here is our enemy or character like what we actually want to spawn, our enemy or ally. This is the player start. So this is all the player starts that have this tag in the world. We're going to drag off of this out actors, which is a list of all those player starts with the tags, and we're going to get the length of it. And again, the reason we're doing it this way is because you could change it to be like 6 player starts or 2 or 3 or whatever, and it's not hard coded as a number here, so we could have it be whatever we wanted. Then we're going to drag off of this, and we're going to say random integer in range. And this is actually going to be our maximum, not our minimum. And our minimum is going to be 1. So like if there's 3 player starts in the world, we can spawn between 1 and 3 characters. If there's 6 player spots in the world, we can spawn between 1 and 6 characters. And we're going to do it randomly because we only have 1 ally right now. If you had multiple allies and you're like, I always want, like maybe a typical JRPG, I always want to spawn 4 allies, then obviously you'd want to set this differently for allies versus enemies. But for now, I want it to be random how many enemies it spawns. So between at least 1 up to how many player starts I have, it's going to spawn a random number of enemies. And this is still going to work for our player because we only have 1 right now. So it'll only return 1 here. So it'll always get 1. We're also going to drag off of this list and search for a for loop. And it's not going to be a for each loop. So actually, we're not going to drag off of that. We're just going to search for a normal for loop. So flow control for loop. Because we don't want to go through each of these items. We only want to go through the maximum number of them, right? So our first index is going to be 0 and our last index is going to be this maximum number. So we're not going to go to that. So we're going to start it. So like if we said, oh, I'm going to spawn, so this return value, if we said I'm spawning 2, then we're going to go 0 and 1 and we're not going to get to 2. So that's how that loop is going to work. And then we're going to drag off of this and we're going to get one of them, and we're going to get one of these from the list that matches the index, and we're going to make sure that it's a valid one to spawn at, because maybe like someone already spawned there, maybe it's not working correctly. So we're going to get one of those, check if it's valid, and then we're going to get the actor transform of that player start. So we got one of the player starts from that list. We're getting the transform of it, so its location. We're making sure that player start is valid, and if it is, we're going to spawn actor from class. So spawn actor from class will give you this one, and then the class is going to be this class that we're spawning, right? Whether it's the enemy or the character, it's whatever we ended up passing into here is what we want to spawn. And then the transform location is going to be that player start that we got from our list of tagged player starts is where we want to actually spawn them at. So we're going to compile and save this. And again, in our event graph, we're calling this twice. So let's see if our players and everything actually spawn. Woohoo! We did it! Yay. First try. So if your players are facing weird directions or something like that, it's because of the way that you turned these. So you'll have to turn, like if you rotated these around. That's why when I first came into this world, I didn't rotate this first one at all. I just went over to it and used its direction, and then only rotated these ones, because it can be tricky to figure out how to face the paper characters the right way in the 3D space. So that's my best suggestion. As a reminder, these ones are all set to 180. This one was where it was originally. I didn't change it. These are set to 180, and this camera is at -90 to be flipped around here. So if you need to mess with those values so they're not flipped funny, then do that, but they should just spawn. And notice every time it will be random numbers. So the first time it's 3, now it's 2. Now it's 3 again. And now that you can actually see them spawning in the space, you can actually change where they move. But if you kind of look at the plane, obviously you can still see the plane in my viewport, but this is why I wanted to show you with the 2.5D, which is really cool. It kind of just looks flat. Like it doesn't look like it's actually a slope because they're all flat characters, and so especially if I had a backdrop here, it would really look flat. But the slope helps so that I can actually see all the characters. So that is a useful useful tool. So I suggest kind of having the slope there. You can move your camera, modify it, obviously if you can't see them very good. But I feel like I have a pretty good view. Like I do feel like there's more space over here than I'd want. Maybe I'd want to spread them out a little bit more or bring my camera in a little bit more. So you can always mess with that and like what it looks like. The very last thing that we're going to do with this is make sure that we turn off the animation blueprint component of these guys, and that's just because otherwise the weird stuff could happen and we can't actually set the flipbooks the way we want. So we are going to do animations later when we get into the gameplay. For now, these can be placeholders, right? Like they don't even have to, but they all have that animation component that links to an animation blueprint, and so we want to turn that off. So we're going to go into so that we can manually do our animations. So we're going to go into our battle game mode and we're going to create a function, circle with a plus, called setup character. Now I already have one and it has way more stuff than you guys are going to need in it right now. But all I want you guys to do, here, let me copy this out. I'll just unhook this. So I want you to have this setup character function that takes the character right here as an argument. So click on it and make an input. That's a character. That's a BP base character. And then I want you to drag off that character and get animation component. Sorry, it's animation component here for the paper ZD. And then I want you to drag off of that and search for set anim instance class. And that's what this is. And we want to just have it blank like this. We just want to leave it blank like that so that it basically removes the anim instance class in the battle mode, which we want to exist in the world mode, but we don't want to exist here in the battle mode. So we want to have that on setup character. And because we are going to add more things, as you can see later on, if you would like to add like a sequence here to kind of get ready to set that up, you can. So a sequence is just an order of executing code. But we could have that and then you'll have other stuff. But this is all you need in setup character right now. Whether you have the sequence or not, it's kind of up to you. And then make sure that your character spawn and make sure that it spawns random ones. Oh, also make sure we're triggering that setup character. So back in battle game mode in our spawn characters, and this is going to actually turn off idle animations for now, but that's fine because we're going to manually set them so we can control the animations later. So in our spawn characters at the very end, after we spawn the actor, we're going to grab this actor return value and we're going to do setup character. And we're going to play, and again, no animation should be playing now because we did turn off the animation component. That's totally fine because we don't want to have them playing until we can manually set them for this battle level. So just make sure it's spawning random enemy amounts in your battle here. And when you have all of that working and it's spawning and they're random, even though I keep getting 3 like all the time, when you have that all set up and working and good, then you're going to move on to the next part.